Hey, welcome to the Empowered and Free podcast. My name is Erin Kimbrell, and I'm a counselor, certified life coach, breathwork coach, and small town mom of two. I know firsthand what it feels like to live with high functioning anxiety. For most of my life, I had so much mental mess, anxiety, people pleasing, perfectionism, overthinking, constant worrying, and never feeling good enough. On my decade-long journey to feeling better, I've learned how to take back my life from high-functioning anxiety and helped others to do the same through my coaching and breathwork programs. Now I want to share everything I know with you. This podcast will help you feel empowered over your high-functioning anxiety and free to finally live the life of your dreams. Now, grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and dive into the episode. I'm Erin Kimbrell, and this is the Empowered and Free podcast. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Man, it has been a minute. I have had a lot going on, personally, professionally. I won't get into it, but I'm just glad to be back. I love being behind the mic, sharing, talking to you, helping you, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. It is the holiday season, and I can just feel the stress in the air. I feel like every time I go shopping or Target or whatever it is, everybody's a little bit stressed out. Okay. It doesn't have to be this way. It is a choice. Don't hate me for saying that, but it is a choice to be that way. So today I'm going to share with you 3 of my top tips to help when you're feeling anxious around the holidays, what to do to feel better. Okay. This is actually going to be a 2-part series. So today, we're going to talk about your mindset because so many of us who struggle with feeling stressed out and anxious over the holidays, got that festive holiday anxiety. So many of us really struggle with our mindset. So we're going to talk about mindset and we're going to talk about your schedule. You're probably very overbooked, packed schedule, which is contributing to the stress that you feel, right? So that's what we're going to talk about on today's episode. And then next week in part 2 of this holiday anxiety series, we are going to talk about your family. Okay. We're going to talk about your boundaries. That's a big one. And we're going to talk about your routines, how you take care of yourself, what you do during the holidays to feel good. Okay. So before we start, I just want you to know that if you found yourself really struggling through this holiday season, or to be honest, if you've just been struggling through 2023, it does not have to be that way. I am speaking from experience, not only my own, but those of my clients. My signature program, Empowered and Free from Anxiety, will be opening up finally again for enrollment in January of 2024. We usually only open the doors once a year, so definitely jump in if you are ready to make 2024 your year, the year that you finally feel less anxious. If you haven't heard of it yet, Empowered and Free will help you actually heal your anxiety and take back control of your life. You can check out all the details, all the testimonials of women's lives who have been changed, and so much more at erinkimbrell.com/free. Okay. Registration is going to open up January 1st. Ooh, love the new year energy. January 1st of 2024. Do not miss it. I am telling you, I don't know when it's going to come back around again. Do not miss hopping into Empowered and Free from Anxiety. With that little announcement being said, let's go ahead and get into my top 3 tips to help you when you're feeling more anxious around the holidays. Okay. Tip number 1, I'm talking to all my little perfectionist girlies. Stop striving for perfection. Okay. Perfection isn't even real. This is completely a facade. I think about those movies where the people are so disoriented and they see the mirage ahead and they think it's the thing. That's what perfection is. It's like this mirage, this facade, this thing that isn't even real. Perfection is not attainable. So every time that you set yourself up for that, you're going to fail. When you've had this perfectionist mindset and then you don't reach it, you don't get there, you're automatically beating yourself up. Again, speaking from experience. Perfection is probably the number one thing that I still struggle with, especially in my work, in my professional life, in my business. man, that perfection can just come to get me. So I know what this feels like. And a lot of us end up doing this around the holidays because we just want everything to be like amazing, right? We're looking for that perfect Instagram aesthetic or that beautiful Pinterest worthy tablescape that we've seen or that mantle decor or whatever it is that we think will just make us feel exactly what we want to feel. We think we have to have that thing, or it's like a make or break for our holiday season. So I want you, as I'm talking here, to just be thinking about, in what ways does perfection show up for you around the holiday? Do you feel like you have to have that perfect holiday card with your family, just smiling, everybody's happy, we love each other, or that beautifully decorated Christmas tree? Gosh, I am guilty of feeling this way sometimes. I see a picture of a Christmas tree, and that is a holiday I celebrate, and I'm like, this is what I want. Okay. Or maybe you see those spreads online and you think, I am going to host the perfect party with like the most amazing food, the perfect, gorgeous outfit that's going to give me all these compliments. And then I'm going to post a really nice picture on Instagram and everybody's going to be like, oh my gosh, you look amazing, right? I'm going to have that festive appetizer that I saw on TikTok that everybody is just like raving about. Okay. Pump the brakes if that is you, if you feel that pull, whether you actually do the things or not, because we can actually put that pressure on ourselves, even if we don't do that, even if we don't get the perfect holiday card and outfit and party, we can still be putting that pressure on ourselves. So check if that's you. Are you putting that pressure on yourself? Yes or no? Okay. And I encourage you to just let that go. You can do all of the really fun, amazing holiday activities that you want to do, and you can let go of perfection. You can know that that's not even real, that that doesn't exist, that is not even something that we're shooting for. So here's an example. Let's say you do want to do the holiday cards, which in full transparency, I gave these up years ago, because it was so stressful for me. But let's say that you want it, because we do get people who send us these really cute Christmas cards, and I'm like, man, they nailed this, right? So you want that perfect family photo for the holiday cards. You get your family these cute little coordinating outfits. You schedule the photography session, which, that means like clearing the day, like this is the event that you're doing. Okay. And you start to get ready. You can just feel that stress as it builds. The kids are whining because they don't want to put on their dress clothes. Okay. Your husband's not thrilled because he don't love taking the pictures either. You're trying to like perfect your hair and your makeup and get everything ironed. Do people iron anymore? I know people iron. I'm just kidding. I don't iron, but you feel that stress building. You feel that mounting. You know that is about to crumble right in front of you because you feel like the person who's trying to manage it all and keep everything afloat. So you get to the appointment, everybody's there, and you feel like you're just like completely faking it as you make it. And I know that you guys feel the same way because I talk to friends all the time and they're like, yeah, me and my kids, we were just screaming at each other in the car. And then we step out and we're a happy family, right? Everybody's a happy family. And the kids have on like the fakest smile ever. So then what do? We start bribing, we start begging, we start yelling, like all you want is that perfect picture. So I want you to think about that because I've been in the situation. Maybe you've been in the situation. Is all of that worth it? Maybe for you, you say, yes, it is. And that's fine. For me, I've decided, stepping out of that. That is not worth it to me. Now, if we were to do these family pictures, would it be better for you to actually take some of the stress off? Know that these things probably are going to happen. Okay. Maybe relax into it and just try for the best. Hope for the best. Hope that maybe a couple family members are smiling. You seem like you like each other and the picture's decent. Okay. This is the difference here between that striving for perfection that is like impossible because it's, again, not real, not attainable, and just being okay with the outcome that happens. I'm not saying you give up on it completely. If you still want the picture, get the picture, girl. We all get to make our own decisions on what is worth it and what is not. But in this situation, this example could go for anything. It could go for that holiday party. Maybe you want, like I said, that perfect party with the most like festive appetizers you've ever seen and the great outfit. And think about what all goes into that. All of the planning, then the cleaning, then the prepping, right? Getting all the food, the cooking that has to happen, then greeting people. Like my stress level just rises thinking about it. Definitely been there. And for me, have realized if I'm going to have a holiday party, if I'm going to take the pictures for the cards, the perfection is like not even in the same realm that I am in anymore. It's just going to be enough. Like it's going to be enough as it is. So what I want you to do here is just notice where you're raising that bar to an impossible standard where you have these super high expectations and anything that falls short of that is going to be a failure. I want you to take that and I want you to flip the script for just a second. Wouldn't it suck to go through all of the planning, the prepping, the stress that you feel for just like one thing not to go your way, for one thing to just not quite go according to plan? And what do? But you just chalk the whole thing up to a disaster. That was awful. That sucked. That was nothing like I anticipated. That would actually be the worst thing that could happen, right? Wasting your one and only precious life trying to make everything perfect. That would be the actual worst. Instead of just really focusing on spending your time with the people you love, people you care about, enjoying the moment, being present, feeling some holiday spirit, right? We tend to focus on the one or two things that didn't go well. So I want you to grab your journal as I'm talking here. Hopefully this has kind of inspired some thoughts for you. And if you can, if you're not driving and you've got a minute, I want you to journal on where are you striving for perfection this holiday season? What do you feel like has to be perfect? And why? Why does this thing have to be perfect? Like, what would that mean to you if it wasn't perfect? Would you be okay with that? Okay. So go a little bit deeper, rewind this if you need to, and answer those questions. Because my tip number one is to stop striving for perfection. Okay. Tip number two is you are going to let go of the pressure to do it all. A lot of us that struggle with high functioning anxiety have this all or nothing mentality. It's also called the black and white, right? Like we don't see the shades of gray in the middle. It is just all one way or it is nothing. We think that we have to do it all or it's not good enough. So if you fall into that camp, if you want to do all the holiday things this season, back to the pictures. If you want to take the perfect family pictures, if you want to go to all the festivals and all the parades and all the events, if you want to bake cookies with your kids, if you want to buy the perfect gift for every single person on your list, if you want to throw that holiday party, if you want to have the perfect tree, like all the things that we've already talked about, if you're trying to do all of those things at once, I want you to just, again, go ahead and pump the brakes. Back to number one, tip number one, perfection isn't real. Okay. There is no possible way that you can do it all. I say that with love because we all have the same 24 hours in the day and the same 31 days in this month. And we have to sleep and we have to eat and we have to take care of ourselves, right? Not to mention the fact that you're probably working, that maybe you're being a wife and a mom or taking care of others, taking care of yourself, right? Being at all your kids' school events and the performances and the parties. Like, could we cram one more single thing into this month? I don't think we could. All right. You cannot do it all. And I want you to just take a breath with me here, in through the nose, out through the mouth, drop those shoulders, and let go of the pressure that you're putting on yourself to get it all done. It is not possible. And it is also not a challenge. As you're just thinking about all of the things that you have on your plate, if you're anything like me, you open up the calendar, you look at the day, and your stomach just like drops. It just sinks. That is a sign from your body. It's too much. This is all too much, right? Notice in your body when it's feeling anxious, when you feel like you can't get that deep breath, right? When your chest just kind of feels heavy, or your heart starts to race, or your stomach feels nauseous, or you start to shake, right? These signs of anxiety, these signs of dread, these signs of like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, this is too much. Maybe it's the overwhelm, the stress. These, again, are signs from your body that your life, your schedule is too much right now. Have you heard of the mental load of motherhood? This is a concept that I see a lot talked about on like Instagram, but the mental load of motherhood is everything that moms carry around in their mind. And I would argue it doesn't just apply to moms. A lot of times it does apply to women too. But this mental load that we carry, thinking about every single thing that we have to do, that we have to get done, everything that is kind of under our to-do list, that mental load is even harder than the physical load that we have every single day. I know, my friend, that you are worried that you're going to forget someone or something. You are going to forget it. And you just feel like when you forget that thing, life is going to come crashing down. People are going to hate you. Your life is going to be over. Okay. That's a little dramatic, right? But we do feel like people are going to be disappointed. They're not going to recover. And the reality is they will. Like, oh, yeah, it'll be okay if we forget that holiday dessert or to send in something for the kids' holiday party, or even if we forget like some kind of concert or event that's going on at school, it will be okay. People can feel disappointment and then they can move on with their life in the same way that you would. So I want to remind you, you don't have to hold it together for everybody. You don't have to be the doer of all things, the keeper of all information. If you're so busy doing things for everybody else, who's actually going to do some things for you? Because there's no way you're going to have the capacity to do those things. I want you to grab that journal if you did that journaling with me. If not, just kind of mentally like reflect and think this through. Maybe again, if you're driving or you're busy, we're going to do a quick life edit just for this holiday season, just for the next few weeks. I want you to get that piece of paper. And first of all, you're going to write down your non-negotiables. So what are the things in your life that absolutely still have to happen? The things that cannot be put on pause for the next few weeks? What are the bare minimum of things? So who or what needs to happen in the next couple of weeks? So this might look like if you're thinking of yourself, right? You have to sleep. You have to eat. You might want to work out or move your body or take some breaths once in a while or journal or whatever it is that you like to do to take care of yourself. That's a non-negotiable. Those are things that you have to do to continue to function. Okay. What about your family? What's going on in your family's life over the next couple of weeks that feel like that, like again, that bare minimum things that are non-negotiable that absolutely have to happen? And what about your work? What are things that are going on in your work life that absolutely have to happen? Go ahead and just take some time, pause this here if you're journaling, and write down all of your non-negotiables. All right, next, we're going to think about all of the extra obligations that you have at this time of the year. This is why a lot of times we feel that extra stress because our plates are overloaded. You know, if you're anything like me, my life is busy as is, but just add some holiday in there. Yeah, things just tend to bump up a couple of notches. So I want you to write down any extra obligations that you have. So this is where you might put those extra fun parties or parades or cookie baking or gingerbread houses or whatever you like to do to celebrate the holiday. I'm just naming some things that we like to do. Those are kind of the little extras. All right, as you finish that, I want you to kind of look back at your paper. Can you realistically get all of your non-negotiables done and those extra little obligations that you put in there? Can you get all of those things done? What is realistic? And the reason I'm saying realistic for me is because a lot of times as I'm making my schedule, and especially in the past, I used to do this. I'm getting so much better now, thank goodness. And that's what I want for you. Is I used to like make my schedule in an ideal world, some kind of ideal life where I never got tired. I had all this energy and everything just seemed to happen like right according to plan and in the perfect timing. Like, yeah. Time management is not always my strong suit. Things typically take me longer than I actually think they're going to take. And the reality is, yeah, I do get tired, especially after a long day, especially in this crazy holiday season. So we're not going to think about like ideal world of like, absolutely, yeah, of course I can do all those things. We're going to actually think of what is realistic. You know what your life looks like on a daily basis. You know how you feel on a daily basis. So what is realistic for you? This is just me keeping it real. For me, with everything we have going on throughout the week, my kids are in sports that are practicing and playing multiple times a week. They're also in other groups at school, whether they're like academic groups or band or chorus or whatever it is. I have everything, including even things like this, like recording this podcast and things that I do outside of my normal week We just have a lot going on. So for me, I know realistically, there's nothing extra that I can take on during the week. So let's say this is a real life example. My husband's Christmas company party is this week coming up. And I know that we have a concert coming up this week. We have a couple games and 3, 4, 5 practices. It's like super stressful even just thinking about it. I know that I might as well X off anything extra that is going to come my way during the week. Somebody says, can you be there? No, I absolutely cannot be there. I will not be there. I also know that then when I look at my weekends are my time to relax, to unwind, to decompress, and to have family time that maybe we don't get throughout the week. So I know that if somebody says, hey, can you do this on the weekend? It's probably a no. Now, there might be some things that do sound really fun. Like we like to go to Carowinds, which is like a local amusement park around here that is really fun and decorated for the holidays. It's like my favorite time of the year to go. I want to make time for that because that's fun to me. Again, there are some parades that we like to go to. Maybe instead of going to 3 of the parades, we choose 1 parade that we can go to. Those kind of things are things that I have to consider. And I'm not going to put the pressure on myself to do them all. I'm going to see, like, realistically, what do I have time to do? I know that for me and my personality and what I need, maybe we can do events one of the days of the weekend, but I need at least 1 full day, like I said, to relax, unwind, decompress, like chill, or I am going to be a stressy messy come Monday because I didn't have that time to myself. So anything else that comes my way, it's a no. Like it's a no. Even things that are really fun. I had a friend message me last night and was like, hey, what about, can we get together on this day and do this thing? And although I would have loved to say yes, because I love hanging out with her, what we're going to do together was super fun, there realistically is no time in my schedule. If I would have tried to shove that in, I would have just quickly stressed myself out more than I'm already feeling. Like that's a no for me. So as you're looking at your life edit, what fits and what doesn't. We're going to keep that as we move into tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to say no when you don't have the capacity for more. I know this is hard for some of us. Okay. I get it. I am recovering people pleaser and I want everybody to be happy with me. And I do want to do all these fun things, but I just can't. And you can't either. You don't have to bake cookies for the class party and go volunteer at the holiday concert and go to those 3 different holiday gatherings and do this and do that. You don't have to. I'm giving you full permission. You don't have to do it. You are allowed to set your schedule how you want your schedule to be. One reminder that I've been giving myself this year, and I'll share it with you because it's been really helpful to me, is that I don't have to do every single thing every single year. So although we have like our fun list of things that we love to do, I just kind of think of it like a menu, like options that we could do. So some years we've maybe baked the cookies, right? Other years we've done like a gingerbread house, or like I mentioned, the parade, or whatever those things are for you that feel really special. Have that list. But again, that's options. That's the menu for you. You don't have to think about doing every single thing on the list every single year. There will be other years, right? Again, just sharing like a personal example. When I got sick, well, I got sick, then my daughter got sick, my son got sick. It's like just a trickle effect. Like it happens in life, right? I was super disappointed because the weekend that I was really sick, we missed several events that I really like to go to. So I could have like beat myself up about getting sick, which is like, what in the world? You can't even help that, right? Or I could have felt like we were like totally a fail on this holiday season. But I don't want to do that, right? I just reminded myself, hey, we'll try again next year. Like, I don't want to have that all or nothing mentality. I want to have the mentality that I can only do what I can do, and what I do is enough. I'm a good mom to my kids. I know that I'm trying the best I can. And that's what I want to remind you today. So again, last time, grabbing that journal, we're going to reflect on how you actually want to feel this holiday season. So if you have that pen and paper, amazing. If not, just take a pause here and think in your mind for a second. How do you want your holiday season to feel? Do you want to feel happy? Do you want to feel content, joyful, grateful? Do you want to feel at ease and peaceful and calm? Maybe you just want to feel present, like you want to actually be there instead of running through something else in your head. However you want to feel, write down those feelings on your piece of paper. This is really, really, really important. Now I want you to take those feelings and go back up to the questions that you answered from tip number 2 when we did your life edit, when we saw like what was a non-negotiable and what were those obligations that were kind of like extra. I want you to think about the things that are on your list. Do those extra little obligations and things that you're really aiming to do they match how you want to feel? So again, using my example of going to a parade, does going to a parade match for me that feeling of like holiday spirit and joy and just happiness and like being present with my kids? Yeah, absolutely it does. Can I fit that into my schedule? Yes, I can. Now, could I say the same for maybe some holiday parties that I'm not so eager to go to? Or those events that just kind of feel like something I have to do? Like, that's what I want you to kind of compare it to. Coming back to how do you want to feel? What do you want this experience to feel like? Not only for you, but if you have a family, what do you want to feel within your family? As you're kind of looking at your list and comparing, does what you have on your list of obligations in your life edit match how you want to feel? You're going to come across some things that probably are now a no, like maybe something that you actually have on your calendar that you've already agreed to that's now you're realizing a no. You might have to cancel some plans. And guess what? It will be okay. I promise you it will be okay. So I just want to remind you of this really, really important statement. When you say no to others, you say yes to yourself. Now you might hear that and go, ooh, I don't want to be selfish. I feel guilty when I say no, or I want people to like me. I want people to be happy with me. So many of us struggle with those kind of things. This is not the time for that, okay? You are listening to this episode because you're maybe not feeling the best. You're feeling anxious, you're feeling stressed out, and you don't want to feel that way anymore. You're listening to this episode right now because you want to feel better. You want to be more, you want to feel more of whatever those feelings are you just named in that question, okay? So this is not the time to beat yourself up for actually putting you kind of at the top of the list for once. I would even really argue to say that the more that you make yourself a priority in your life, the more that ripple effect touches others that you care about. When you can show up in full like authenticity and feeling really good, that affects those people that you care about the most. So I know that you think it's a bad thing to be like selfish or to actually put your needs on the list. But again, I would argue the opposite, that the more that we're selfless, the more that we feel resentful and burnout and frustrated, the worse we actually show up in our life. That's the hard reality, but it's true. So I want you to go back through that calendar that you have or your list of obligations and go ahead and start making some adjustments that will help you match how you want to feel. Just coming back to that tip number 3, say no when you don't have the capacity for more. Man, I feel like I'm stepping on some toes today. And this was just part 1. This was part 1 of my series on holiday anxiety. Today, like I said, we talked mostly about your mindset, like checking your mindset, looking at your schedule, and seeing how you can create the holiday that you want. So let's recap the 3 tips. Tip number 1, stop striving for perfection. It's not even real, right? Tip number 2, let go of the pressure to do it all. We cannot possibly do it all. And then tip number 3, say no when you don't have the capacity for more. I hope this has been so helpful to you. If it was, please share it with a friend. Send it to somebody who you know is stressed out and who just needs to take a little bit of time to kind of reflect on these same things. Again, next week, part 2 of my holiday anxiety series will drop, and we are going to tackle your family. We're going to talk about your boundaries and your routines. I will see you next time, friend. Bye, guys.
Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You don't know how much it means to me. If you'd like more behind the scenes content, inspiration, and daily reminders that encourage and uplift you, follow me on Instagram at HeyErinKimbrel and send me a DM to say hey. If any of the episodes have been super helpful for you, please consider leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen. It helps me so incredibly much.
and it allows the podcast to be seen by other people who need it. If you want to learn more from me, head to erinkimbrell.com. That's where you'll find all my free resources, read the podcast show notes, and learn more information about my online coaching and breathwork programs that help you create the life you want. If you want to keep the conversation going from today's episode, join us in our exclusive podcast Facebook community, Empowered and Free Help for High Functioning Anxiety. I'm here for you, and I'm always cheering you on. I'll see you next time. I'm Erin Kimbrell, and this is the Empowered and Free podcast.